Matthew 24:20, Jesus warned about breaking the Sabbath in the future. In the shadows of prophecy, amidst the chaos foretold, Christ himself uttered a warning, words that skeptics, pastors, imams, priests, and non-believers conveniently overlook. But pray ye that your flight be not in the winter, neither on the Sabbath day. Matthew chapter 24:20. Pause and reflect deeply upon this verse. Jesus, the Master himself, speaks explicitly of events yet future, events that stretch far beyond the cross, beyond his resurrection, even to the very end of time. Here, in clear terms, Christ recognizes the Sabbath as still sacred, holy, and eternally binding. Yet today, the Sabbath is treated with contempt, indifference, or simply ignored altogether. How dare we claim wisdom greater than the Son of God? Consider the profound significance. If, as many pastors assert, the Sabbath ended at the cross, why would Jesus explicitly command believers to pray their flight would not occur on this sacred day? This prophecy reaches far into the future, to the end-time events preceding Christ's second coming. If the Sabbath was destined to become irrelevant, why highlight it at the apex of prophecy? Clearly, Christ's words refute the notion that his death abolished the Sabbath commandment. Pastors and priests, examine your teachings carefully. Why do you confidently preach grace as an excuse to disobey God's clear commandments? Do you presume your theological traditions carry more authority than the direct words of Christ himself? Do you honestly believe your interpretations override the Lord's explicit command? To imams and religious leaders, understand this. The Sabbath was not a temporary ordinance. It was established by God's own finger on stone, given to humanity as a timeless sign. If Jesus himself, whom you acknowledge as a prophet, emphasized the sanctity of the Sabbath even in future tribulation, how can you justify disregarding it today? By whose authority do you replace or alter what God has declared eternally holy? And skeptics, those of you who mock the relevance of the Sabbath, consider your position. You claim logic and reason guide your worldview. Then reason with this. Christ's warning was clearly prophetic. It points explicitly to an end-time scenario when fleeing on the Sabbath would present a spiritual dilemma, a breaking of divine law. What logical argument can dismiss such direct prophetic instruction from Christ himself? Non-believers, you stand defiant in your unbelief. Yet even you can see the logic here. If Christ foretold future Sabbath keeping long after his resurrection, doesn't it logically follow that the Sabbath commandment still matters, still binds, still convicts the conscience of humanity? Jesus spoke these words not casually, but with deep urgency. His message warns of a future so perilous that even the sacredness of Sabbath keeping would be tested. He foresaw an age when compromise, convenience, and tradition would overshadow divine commandment. Today, that prophecy is unfolding before our very eyes. The Sabbath stands as an everlasting sign of God's authority. Breaking it is rebellion, keeping it, obedience. To disregard the Sabbath is not merely a trivial oversight, it is willful defiance against God's explicit command and Christ's direct prophecy. So today, I confront you boldly. Will you stand against Christ's clear command? Will you justify Sabbath breaking by tradition, convenience, or skepticism? Or will you humbly acknowledge that Christ's words are eternal, authoritative, and binding upon your life even now? Jesus warned explicitly about breaking the Sabbath in the future. You have been warned. The question now is, how will you respond?